Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So in this video, I want to expound on the previous video that I did, which was about protocol-oriented programming. So in today's video, I want to have another use case to illustrate some of the other principles as well in terms of dependency injection. Okay, so one of the user in the previous video mentioned, hey, can you do something that's a bit more advanced? So I thought this could be an app example to illustrate. Okay, so this use case is about determining if a user has logged in previously. So if a user has done that, we want to show the main part of the app. And if the user has not logged in previously, then most apps we would direct the views to some kind of onboarding flow or to the login sign up screen. Okay, so we're gonna do just that. Okay, so before I move forward, I want to discuss how do we know when the user has signed in previously. So typically when a user signs in, backend would return some kind of access token, and the app would store the access token probably inside the some kind of storage, whether it's via the keychain, which is a more secure place to store such sensitive information, or you could store it preferably not inside like core data or maybe even NS user defaults. Okay, so yeah, NS user defaults is probably not a safe place to do that, but I'm going to use that just as an example for this video. Okay, so right now where we left off, this is where we left off. When I run the project, we should see that lady's photo and the email. So now what I want to do is that I want to introduce another view controller that determines whether the user is logged in or not. Okay, so I'm going to create something like a base view controller. So I'm going to come over here and let's create a new file. Okay, so let's call this base view controller, and this base view controller, or rather, sorry, not base is a bad word. Let's call this the root view controller. Okay, so the root view controller will be the root view controller inside the scene delegate. Okay, so let's import UIKit, and then let's create this root view controller over here. And as mentioned, its responsibility is to check if the user is logged in or not. If yes, show the main app, which happens to be the user view controller, which we did in the previous video. So if you have not watched that, please check it out. I'll probably leave the link somewhere at the top or at the bottom in the description. Okay, so view did load, super.view did load. So I'm going to just make this super simple. So maybe let's have it as the yellow color, and let's set this as the root view controller over here, just like that. So I believe these two lines, I can just comment this out for the time being, and let's just run this and let's see if we are seeing that yellow screen. Okay, so it's good. The root view controller is being set correctly. Okay, so we are going to determine over here root view controller. Let me bring this up to see whether the user is logged in or not. So I'm going to do something like process flow. Okay, so if the user is logged in already, then I'm going to call the show main app function. Otherwise, I'm going to call show login. Okay, and then maybe we can create another file over here. Let's call this the login view controller. So Swift file login view controller. Okay, so this will be a class. So login view controller, UI view controller. Okay, thank you Xcode for importing the UI kit for me. So view did load, super.view did load. And just to differentiate between this one and the root view controller, I'm going to change the background color. Okay, let's make this red. All right, so let's come back to the root view controller. So I'm going to show you the not so good way of doing it, which could be something that you might be doing. And this was something that I did probably 3-4 years ago. Okay, so I'm going to do user defaults dot standard dot string for key, maybe like access token, something like that. I'll do like if let access token equals to this, and access token is not nil, All right, it means that user has logged in previously. Then I will show the main app. Okay, otherwise I will show the login. Okay, so let me just leave some comments over here. So user has logged in previously. I'll just say user has not logged in. Okay, so obviously if user has not logged in, we want to bring the user to some kind of onboarding screen and ask the user to sign up or enter their credentials. Okay, so show login. What are we going to do? We're going to do navigation controller dot maybe present. Okay, so what is it that what we want to present? We want to present the login view controller. Okay, so login view controller just like that. True. Completion, we can set this to be nil. So show the main app. So what is our main app? So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say that user view controller, okay, is the main app. So let user view controller, and then we have to pass in the view model. Okay, so let view model equals to user view model, which requires which has a dependency, which is the user service. So let me just pass in the view model over here. And where am I going to get this user service from? So I have to get it somewhere within this root view controller. Okay, so in the meantime, in order to unblock this, I'm going to get it from the function signature instead. Okay, so user service over here. So Xcode is not going to complain, or will it? It will. Okay, because over here I have to pass in the user service as well. Okay, so anyway, this could be something that you might be writing, and it is not good. And the reason is because this code is non-testable. Basically, you won't be able to mock user defaults just like that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can transform this into the MVVM structure and how we can write our code in such a way whereby we can mock the user defaults so that we can perform unit tests. Okay, so the objective is we want to make our code as testable as possible so that we can sleep soundly during the weekends and we don't have to be woken up by a pager duty. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so we have to start by creating the view model. So let's start with the class. So root view model. Okay, we don't have to conform to any superclass. Okay, so over here, let's do it over here. So private let view model, root view model, and obviously Xcode is going to complain, and therefore we need to pass that via dependency injection. So view model like that, self.viewModel equals to view model, super.init nil. Okay, I'm going to do this a lot faster because I've covered this in the previous video. So we have to pass in the required initializer as well, so let Xcode fix this. Okay, so maybe I'm just going to comment this for the time being and just do command B to build the app. Okay, so show main app. Okay, so you know what, I'm going to do this as well. Okay, so just to keep things really simple. Okay, command B to build this, and then I believe the complaint will be inside the scene delegate because we have to pass in the view model as part of its dependency for the root view controller. Okay, so let's do that right now. So view model. So let's construct the root view model over here. So let view model equals to root view model. Okay, so I can just pass this in over here. So command B to build this. Okay, so now it's building successfully. So let's come back to the root view model, and all this information over here inside this process flow function is business logic. Okay, as long as we have if, which is a condition, or we have some kind of switch statement, it's considered as business logic. And we don't want our view controller to have business logic as much as possible. Sometimes inevitably there could be, but we want to abstract that out as much as possible into the view model. Okay, the view model again should be as dumb as possible. All right, it should be as stateless as possible. Okay, so I always think that the view controller should be like, we should think of it as a UI view. Really stupid. It just takes in some parameters and just, you know, maybe update a text view or update an image view, it should be, you know, that should be its responsibility. Okay, so now this root view model, I'm going to create this thing called let's call this process flow. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this here, and then, okay, so maybe instead of calling it process flow, I'm going to say start flow so that we don't get confused. So right now inside process flow, I can say okay, I can do that inside view did appear. So super.view did appear. Okay, so once the view did appear inside the root view controller, I can say view model dot start flow. Okay, I don't think I need this anymore. Yeah, I think I can remove this. It's fine. Start flow, process flow, it's kind of the same thing. Okay, so now I have all this information over here. Okay, this is basically like a little bit of a pseudo code. So as mentioned, we cannot mock if we are using user defaults directly, and you know, we can't even do that if we do something like storage equals to user defaults. You might think, hey, maybe we can do something like that, and then we can do it this way. I think that will not work either. So the way we can fix this is to create a wrapper for the user defaults. Okay, so let me show you how we can do that. Okay, so let me just remove this for the time being, and let me comment that out as well. So let's come down to the bottom and let's create a protocol. Alright, so how can we describe this service where we are getting the access token? Okay, so maybe I'm going to call this a login storage service. Okay, so it's a storage service whereby it pertains to logging in, like some auth authentication service. Okay, so over here this login storage service can set the user access token. Okay, so I can say token, this is of type string, maybe let's call this value instead. I can set, then I should be able to get as well, right? So there's a setter, there's a getter. Get user access token. So when I get this access token, the result could be a string or it could be an empty string, all right? And it is an empty string, or rather a string optional, if the access token cannot be found. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. And also I'm going to create a key over here. So let's call this user access okay, maybe let's call this access token key. Access token key, and this will be of type string, and this will be a getter. Alright, so guys, if you're a bit confused now, it's okay, it's good, just stay on with this. I'm pretty sure you'll understand by the end of this video. Okay, so we're going to create some kind of wrapper class. So let's create this class, and I'm going to call this storage manager, and this storage manager will conform to this login storage service. Okay, so what this means is that this class pertains to functions that has to do with storage. So over here, this class inherits the login storage service. You know, you can create another protocol as well. It could be some other kind of storage service, and you can append that inside this storage manager. So this storage manager basically is just, you can think of it as a container to perform things that has to do with storage services. Okay, so over here, let's do it here. So access token key, I'm going to return, maybe let's call this access token. So this is the key. And why do we need the key? It's because when we set something into the user defaults, we have to determine the key, right? So if you are to set, I'm going to create the user defaults over here. So user defaults dot standard. Okay, so standard is a singleton, by the way. So I'm going to do storage dot set. Okay, so I can't seem to be able to set a string over here. There's no signature for that. So I'm going to use any over here. So this value will be the value. And what is the key? For the access token, it will be the access token key over here. Okay, and if I want to get the user access token, I'll do storage dot value, I believe, value for key. or can I call string? Yeah, string for key is fine. So string for key. So what is the key again? I've defined the key over here. So it's called access token key. All right, so I can put the return if I want to. Otherwise, I think I'll just do return. I think that's fine. Command B to build this to make sure that Xcode is happy. Is it happy? No, it's not. I see a line over here. Okay, so what we want to do is that we want to make sure that we have the login storage service as part of the root view model dependency. Okay, so again, we have to use dependency injection to inject that inside. So self.login storage service equals to login storage service. And then now inside this start flow, let's do it over here. We can do that access token equals to login storage service dot. Okay, we can access these methods over here. Get user access token. Again, this returns a string optional. So I think I can just copy this over here. Make sure the access token is not empty. Okay, can I just indent this so it looks nicer? Okay, so else, so if this is not empty, which means user has already logged in previously, and therefore we want to bring the user to the main part of the app. We want to skip the onboarding, the login, sign up, and things like that. Okay, otherwise user has not logged in, so we will show the login screen. Okay, so why is it like that? I'm not sure why it looks like this, but anyway, okay, that's fine. Okay, so now the question is, how do the root view model communicate back to the view controller? Again, the way to do that is via an interface, or rather a protocol. Okay, so let's create a protocol over here. Let's call this root view model output. And let's make sure that we conform to the any object. Okay, so what do we want the root view model to tell the view controller? All right, two things: either to show login or to show the main app. Okay, I believe it's going to complain over here because there is this user service dependency that we need over here. So let me just add that to the top. Show main app has the user service. Okay, so now let's show the main app. I'm going to do, okay, so we need to have the instance of the output over here. So let's do wig var output, which is of type root view model output optional. Okay, so with that we can do output dot show main app. Otherwise, output show login, like that. Okay, so let's remove all this commented code now. Okay, so now inside the root view model, we can do view model dot output equals to self. Again, it's like conforming to a delegate or a data source, like how we do it in the table view, and it's going to complain. So we have to conform to this. So root view model output. And then I think the functions are over here, so I can just add a mark over here. All right, so I believe this should be fine. So command B again to build this to ensure that no other parts of the app is breaking. Okay, so where's the user service? All right, so we need to have the instance of the user service over here. So I think we can make this as part of its dependency as well. Okay, so user service like that, and then let's make sure that we inject that inside the initializer. So self.userService equals to user service, and then we have the user service to pass into the show main app function. So command B one more time. So the part that's going to break will be inside the scene delegate, okay, because we have to pass that in. So let's go back to the scene delegate, and then we have to pass in two things over here. All right, we have to pass in the login storage service as well as the user service. And previously we have the user service here, so I'm just going to uncomment this and put this over here. And then for the login storage service, it will be the storage manager. So just paste this in here, and I can just remove that commented line. Okay, so command B right now, I believe it should build correctly. Okay, so let's go back to the root view controller and let's see if this is working for us. So now I'm going to put a breakpoint on line 68 and line 74, and I believe if I run the code, it should show the login because I don't have an access token. Oops, what's happening here? So I should land on line 74. So let's just run the app right now and let's see if it's working as intended. Okay, so you see over here, so I'm on line 74 and I should see a red color model view controller being that will pop up. So let me just hit the resume button, and is it showing up? It's not. What's happening here? Okay. Let's see. Okay, how about if I add a dispatch queue over here? I think this will work. Let's see. No, it's not working. Let me try to debug why this is the case. Hey guys, I think I figured out what the problem is. It's because I've not added a UI navigation controller. So silly me. So let's do that right now. Okay, UI navigation controller. So let's have the root over here, and then I think I can just bring this guy here. So let root view controller equals this. Let's pass that in over here and let's just run it right now, and I believe it should work this time. Okay, let's see. Yep, it's been caught. Okay, the reason why I used dispatch queue just now was because I think earlier I had a warning message to say that I was not in the main queue, so I did that. I know it looks kind of weird why I did that, but anyway, that was what I encountered previously. Okay, so this is working correctly. We are seeing the red model being shown up. Okay, so this is good now. So guys, so what are we gonna do from here? We're gonna start writing unit tests, okay, to handle this, to test this business logic. Okay, so what's the business logic that we want to test? So firstly, we need to test that an access token must exist inside our storage, our login storage service, okay? And then we need to test that this access token is not empty. So both conditions must be fulfilled before we show the main app. Otherwise, we will show the login screen. Okay, so let's start by writing our unit tests. So let's create a new, okay, we don't need to create a new target because we have that already. So what we can do is just to create a new file, and I'm going to filter for unit test case class here. So let's call this a root view model test, just like that. Hit the next button, and just ensure that the target should be inside the test target and not the main app target. Okay, so let's hit the create button. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of test performance example. I don't need the throw over here. And then I'm going to do super.setup with arrows. I think I need to add the try over here. Okay, let me just indent it correctly. So what do we need? We need the SUT. So what are we testing for? We are testing for the root view model. Okay, just like that. So let's set this up. So SUT equals to root view model. Okay, we need to pass in the login storage service as well as the user service. Okay, so if you remember in the previous video, we have already created the mock user service, which is over here, I believe. So if you scroll down, there's this mock user service here, so we can reuse this. Okay, so I'm going to say private var user service equals to mock user service. So I can say user service equals to mock user service. Let's initialize that, and we can pass that over here. So in this video, we have to create the mock lock-in storage service. Let's do that at the bottom here. So I mean, of course, I'm doing this really quickly, but you know, if you are doing this on a proper project, you probably want to name your files correctly and put them in the proper folders. Okay, so let's call this mock lock-in storage service. So this will be lock-in storage service. Okay, so command B to build this. Do I need to build this? Okay, let's Xcode do its thing for me. I'm going to do private var lock-in storage service, which conforms to which is of type mock lock-in storage service. Okay, and I can pass that inside over here. So now, is it going to complain? It should complain. So let me just hit the diamond button over here, and I'm sure Xcode will allow me to add the protocol stubs over here. Okay, so this is the mock class. So again, this is a wrapper, okay, to kind of simulate the NS user defaults. Okay, so I'm going to do return. It can be anything over here, just access token, it's fine. Okay, so set access token. I can do var set access token array. This is of type string, and then this is an empty string in the meantime. We're not going to test this in this video, so probably I could do a part 3 to handle the lock-in view controller if you guys are interested. Okay, so if you are interested, please drop a comment message and I could look into that. Okay, so I can do dot append, and then I think it should be append element. All right, so it'll be value here. Okay, so what I'm interested is this one over here. So I can say var mock, maybe I can call this mock, and then this will be string. So I can say return get user access token mock. So this allows me to okay, should I do it this way? Maybe that's not a good way. Let's do it this way instead. Private var storage, and this will be of type string to string, and I'm going to make this an empty dictionary. Okay, so I think a better way to do this would be, maybe I'm going to do it this way. Storage access token equals to value. Alright guys, I think this will be a much better way, more robust way where we can do testing in the future. And then I'm going to do return storage, which is a dictionary, and then I'm going to say access token key. Okay, will this work? Command B. Let me just run the test over here. I'm pretty sure this should be able to compile correctly. Okay, over here, what's the problem? Lock-in storage service. Oh, I have not initialized yet. So mock lock-in storage service. Let's hit that diamond button one more time. Pretty sure it'll be fine now. Okay, great. Okay guys, so let's handle the teardown as well. Super.teardown. I think I need to add try as well. Then we're gonna say SUT equals to nil, user service equals to nil, and lock-in storage service equals to nil. Okay, so let's come to the meat of the test. So what do we want to test for? We want to test these conditions over here inside the root view model, right? So we want to test all these conditions over here. Okay, so let's do that right now. So test show lock-in when lock-in storage returns empty token, user access token. Okay, user token is fine. All right. When it returns empty access token. Okay, so how are we going to test this? So given when then, so when lock-in storage returns. So we have to mock that the lock-in storage has nothing, right? So I'm going to do it this way. Guys, one more thing that I almost forget, we have to create the output as well. Okay, so again, let's do it here. View model, or maybe let's call this output. So it's root view model output. Okay, so let's do that at the bottom here. So class root view, okay, maybe let's call this mock root view model output. Okay, this will be root view model output. Okay, so I think there are two functions over here, show login as well as show main app. Okay, so how are we going to structure the code over here? So I think I'm going to create an enum over here. I'll just say flow. So it's either login or main app. Okay, so we can see over here. So I can say private. Okay, maybe not private. I'll do var flow, which is an array of flow over here. So if the show login function is called, I'm just going to append it, dot append with login. Otherwise, flow dot append with show, sorry, main app, I believe. All right, I think this should be good enough. Let's come all the way to the top, and then I'm going to do output equals to mock root view model output. And then we can do sut dot output equals to output. All right, so this is where we can do our assertion. Okay, so given that login storage returns empty user token, so I can say user service dot storage. Do I have access to the storage? User service is, oh sorry, login storage service dot storage dot, what do I have over here? Oh, let me have a look. Oh, okay, this shouldn't be private, guys. Okay, I think I'm just gonna call this dict so we don't get too confused. This is a dictionary. Okay, so I'm gonna do dot dict dot dict equals to an empty dictionary. All right, so there is no trace of any access token over here. So when sut dot start flow, then we can say xct assert equal that the output dot flow output dot, is there a flow over here? Did we make this a private method? Yeah, we should be able to access this dot flow output dot flow. Can I do it this way? Dot count equals to 1. All right, so what I'm saying over here is that when the view model start flow function is, oh, what's the problem, guys? Output. Oh, that's because I forgot to put a mock over here, guys. So that is important, all right? So I hope that you can learn from this as well. So this has to be the mock class and not the protocol, so that we can access this things that we have written over here. Okay, so now I believe this will pass. So what I was previously saying is that when sut call the function start flow, we know that it will run through okay, maybe let me just make this a lot easier to see. Maybe let me just open this by the side. Okay, so as mentioned, when start flow is being called, we will run through this piece of business logic and determine whether to call the show main app or the show login. Okay, and that's why the count will be 1, because one of these functions will be called. Okay, so let's hit the play button, or rather diamond button, and I believe this should be green. Okay, so that's not good enough, because we know that, you know, one of these functions will be called, but we want to know which exact function is being called. So xct assert equal output dot flow, and we want the first array, the first item, and we know that test show login, okay, maybe it's called dot login. All right, guys, I hope that this makes sense. So let me just run this one more time, and then you'll see that it should be green as well. Is it green? Let's hear that one more time. Yay, it's green. We passed the test. Okay, so now we want to show, what do we want to show? We want to show main app when login storage returns non-empty user token is caught. Okay, so non-empty user token. So we have to simulate two things over here. So given that login storage service dot dictionary. Okay, so I can say access token equals to UUID string. So I'm just going to set a random string over here. When then, okay, so I'm gonna do SUT dot start flow, and then I'm gonna say this is 1, but this time is different. It's going to be show, sorry, it's going to be main app over here. Okay, so let's run the top so that the two tests can be can run. So we should see that. Whoops, oh guys, my bad. We have to put the word test in front for it to be recognized as a test by Xcode. And sometimes when the diamonds buttons don't appear and it gets really annoying, you have to just hit the one at the top over here so that you see that this appears now. So yay, it's showing up. Okay, I think this is not an accurate test name. So show this. Okay, so we have not tested for the empty string. So let's do that. When login storage returns user token is caught. Okay, so let's duplicate this. Okay, and then we'll do show, maybe let's call this show login when login storage returns empty string user token is caught. All right, so now I'm going to change this into an empty string, and then if this is an empty string, then we should see that login is being caught. So I'm just going to cut this and bring this to the top so that we categorize both logins at the top and the main app at the bottom over here. Okay, so now I'm coming to the close to the video, so please hang on tight, and I hope that you gain something useful from this. Okay, so let's hit the button one more time, and then hopefully everything passes. Did everything pass? Yes, I believe it did. Yeah, so everything passed. All right, guys, I know that this video is a bit long. I think it's about almost 45 minutes. It's pretty much similar to the duration from the previous video, and I hope that you learned something out of it over here. So in this video, we created this the root view controller, and we handled the dependency via the scene delegate itself. So in the next video, if I'm to do it, which we will work on the login view controller, the login view controller will have other form of services as well, like a login service. All right, so that's when this will get a little bit more interesting. All right, so guys, it's coming to midnight now, and I hope that you like the video, and if you have learned something, please leave a comment, and hope to hear from you guys soon. All right, cheers, goodbye.